Okay, we are going to start a new unit, and this unit is going to be a drawing unit, and we're going to work on how to draw the human face. But the first thing that I want you to do is we're going to do a silent warm-up drawing. I want you to open your book and draw the human face. Start with outlines in pencil, write today's date in the corner, and if you have extra time, ink in the lines with a black marker, add shading, add color, add texture, whatever you want to do, and just do your best. And the reason we're doing this is because afterwards, after we're through doing our unit, we want to look back and see how we started with the human face and what we've learned from this unit. Okay, so go ahead and do that. I'll give you 10 minutes to do that. Okay, so now that we are done with our silent warm-up drawing, let's go ahead and get started on our face. And the first thing that we're going to practice drawing are the eyes. Eyes are very important. You want to try to make them as realistic looking as possible. And there are specific terms for the eyes. So let's go ahead and get into that, and I'll explain a little bit more. Okay, so here is a realistic drawing of an eye. And you'll notice that there are different parts to the eye. We have the eyelid, the eyelashes. We also have the eyelid. And then we have the pupil, which is the black thing, the black circle in the middle, and then the iris around it. We also have the eyebrows, and then this weird little looking thing here that squirts out the tears when you're sad. It's called a tear duct. So here's the scientific names. You have the eyelid, the pupil. You also have the sclera, which is this white part in the middle. Not many people know what that is. And then we also have the iris around the pupil. So the rule of the eyes is that you also need to have a reflection in order for it to look realistic. So you have the reflection here, and it reflects light that's outside because your eyes are wet from this tears that come out of this weird little tear duct thing here. And so you want to make sure that you keep room to have a reflection in your eyes as well. Okay, so the next thing that you want to remember about drawing the human eye is another rule of thumb is that you want to make sure that your pupil and your iris are covered by your eyelid, and at least partially covered by the eyelid to help your eyes look more relaxed. Because if you don't draw it relaxed like that, then you can, and if you see the whole iris, the eye will look kind of shocked like this. So you do want to make sure that you do partially cover the pupil and the iris. So how I like to do it is I think of the almond and the donut. So the almond represents the shape of the eye, and the donut is going to be the pupil and the iris. So you can see that the donut is a little bit bigger than the almond, but we're going to erase anything that's outside of the almond so that when we start adding details, it will look more natural like this. And you can still see the shape of the almond and the donut underneath the eyelid here. Okay, so let's get into drawing the eyes first of all. Now there are a couple of rules that you need to remember. That if you are practicing on eyes, you don't want to really draw them really small. Like you can see here, I've drew a couple of eyes. They're really tiny. You can't really put the iris, the pupil, the sclera, or the highlights because they're just too small. So you want to draw fairly big when you're practicing on eyes. Okay, so we're going to draw a set of eyes, and I'm going to make my eyes about that big. Now another thing you want to remember is that when you are drawing the eyes, that the eyes need to be the same distance apart, but in between the eyes is a distance of an eye. So what I mean is if you take your pencil and measure the distance here, then the distance here should be the same distance as an eye apart when you are drawing your eyes. Then you're going to measure what you measure with your pencil. So you just put your pencil up there, measure how long that is, go over here, measure that, and a little bit less, okay. And then grab my other pencil. Okay, and then measure it again for your other eye. So I'm going to put that like that, like that, like that, and then about right there. Okay, another rule is that you do want to try to draw, you want to draw the eyes at the same time. You don't want to do one eye here, then try to duplicate it over here. You want to draw the parts of the eye in both eyes at the same time, okay? Okay, so now I'm just going to go ahead and draw the almond shape in here, in both eyes. And this way, if you do them together, you can see exactly about the size that you are doing. Okay, so that there. Okay, there. So now, I think I do have this a little high, but that's okay. This is why you use a pencil. Okay, now I'm going to put the donut shape. Now where you put the donut shapes determines where your eyes will be looking. So if you want your eyes to look this way, you will put your donuts here, or if you want them to look this way, you'll put the donuts here. You do want to match your eyes so that they are looking in the same direction, or it can look like they're cross-eyed. You don't want that to happen. So let's go ahead, and I'm just going to put the donut here. But remember now, it's not going to be completely around inside because you want it to look more relaxed. So we're going to draw it outside. So I'm going to put one of my donuts here, and can't really see that. I'm going to have to darken it a little bit. Okay, so let's put one donut here, and then one donut here. And the center of the donut will represent the pupil. So you're going to put the pupil here and the pupil here. Okay? And now we're going to erase the rest of the donut outside so that it's like that. Okay? The next thing we're going to do is we are going to darken this part in because the top of your eye socket, which is what this is called, is always darker. The eye is always darker. So you want to make the top part darker. Okay. And darken this in so you can see it a little better. Now the next thing we're going to do is add the highlight. Remember we talked about the highlight, that the eyes are watery and wet. So whatever is outside is usually reflected off of your eyes. So that wherever you put the highlight in one eye will be exactly the same place that you would put the highlight in the other eye. Okay, so for instance, if I put the highlight here, then I'm going to put the highlight here so that they match in both eyes. Okay, and now let's darken in our pupils so we know where they're at. And you don't want to darken inside of the highlights. So now at this point, you want to decide if you want to draw a set of ladies' eyes or a set of guys' eyes. Okay, and there is a difference. So I think I'm going to just draw a set of ladies' eyes. Okay, so now even though we all have eyelashes, it has been decided culturally that women's eyelashes are longer, and that's usually because they end up adding mascara to them. So we will draw them differently than we would a male's eyes. And one mistake we don't want to make is, you can see here with this eye that the eyelashes are drawn individually. That makes the eye look kind of scary and wide. So next we're going to draw an eyelid, but I think first what I'm going to do is erase these lines that I have here. I forgot to erase. And then I'm just going to give this more definition here. Okay, now with the eyelids, all you're going to do is just make a line, sort of like a rainbow line. It goes from here to here. And the reason I say rainbow is because I don't want you taking it up and going all the way off the paper. It's just a little line. It goes like this. And then another little line. It goes like this. And those are the eyelids. Okay, now the next thing we're going to draw, tear ducts. No, we're not going to get into drawing the tear ducts because it's not at a level of drawing that we're getting into right now. If we were trying to draw a photorealistic drawing of a person or something, then we would do that. But right now we're just focusing on the basics, okay? Okay, so now we are going to do the eyebrows. And a rule of thumb with the eyebrows is that your eyebrow, if you come to the center of your eye and you draw a line straight up, remember, do this lightly because you will be erasing. Okay. Now, if you don't want to draw your eyebrow right here. You want to start with your eyebrow right here in this area, and you want it high enough so that it doesn't look out of shape. So what I mean by high enough is, if you take your finger and put it in the middle of your eye and then go up, you can see where the top part of the bone of your eye socket is to where your eyebrow would be. So go ahead and put your finger on your eye and then go up. And then you could feel, and I'm doing it, you just can't see it, but you can feel how it arches and goes up and then goes back down to the side of your face. Okay? So that's where you would want to do your eyebrows. So I'd say probably about right here. You want to go up and then go back down, about like that. So, okay. And then you would do the same thing on the other side. Okay. So let's put that out so you can see it better. And it does kind of look like one is a little bit higher than the other, but that's why you use a pencil so that you can erase it. And I think this one is a little too low. Let's bring this one down just a little bit. Okay, there, that's a little better now. Okay, so the last thing we're going to do is we are going to just put part of the nose, okay? So a rule of thumb too on this one for the nose is that you don't want to have your nose going right into your eye, which is what a lot of people do. For instance, if you have your eyes up here, you don't want your nose to go right into the eye like that. You actually want it to go up, around, up to the eyebrow. So here's your eyebrow. You want the nose to go more into the eyebrow rather than into the eye, okay? So all I'm going to do is have a line coming down from the corner of my eyebrow and then curving it and then coming straight down. And then I'll do the same thing over here. Okay, so the last step I'm going to get into is inking. So I do want to put ink on my art. So I'm going to start with the eyebrows. And I'm using a thin tipped marker, which is what you want to do if you can for the thinner things like hair and so forth. And then we'll do this over here. And I'm going to speed this up to get through it quickly, okay? So when you're done with all this, if you want to, you can go ahead and put some lines in your iris. Just a few lines, how you have the lines inside your iris. And then the last thing you will do is erase all your pencil lines. And there, now we have our eyes.